What's good, gang? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see behind me, we got the tent gym pulled out. About to jack it up, get it in the air, show you what you need in order to camber a tent Gen Civic. Let's get it. All right, got the car on the blocks. About to get the jack under it, put it up. Gotta figure out a better, I think I'm gonna just get a bungee cord, bungee it back, hook it up somewhere up there. That way I don't have to shove it under there to close the trunk. All right, we got the car mid jacked up. It's actually, the passenger side is in the air without a jack under it. It's pretty sketchy, but I just wanted to show you this. Imagine. Got the front driver tire off. Look at that tire wear. Negative 15 degrees camber. I know I got at least 1,000 miles on them. That's pretty good. All right, starting at the top. Whoa there, buddy. Let's set you down over here. Well, when I pull my wheel off, I have realized that my sway bar end link is not connected on the driver's side. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and delete that. If you're looking for a couple degrees of camber adjustment, you're gonna wanna just get an adjustable top hat. Most coilovers come with them. However, you might wanna look for that when you're purchasing your coilovers. These will adjust maybe 2 or 3 degrees. If you're looking for more than that and you're not looking to modify, cut, add more parts, you can get an aftermarket company. They can adjust maybe 5 degrees camber, maybe 6. One little secret you can do to get more camber is slot your bolt holes in your tower. The LX base model comes slotted. I'm not sure, about the other trims. I just know mine does come slotted. However, I increased that oval in order to add more adjustment, sliding that top hat in turn kicking the bottom of the wheel out. So this setup right here, OEM coilover top hats and slotted towers, will probably give you negative 4 degrees of camber, 4 or 5. If you get the aftermarket company top hats where you get maybe 5 or 6 degrees, you might run into where it's hitting the strut tower. As you can see, I cut it for clearance when I had my Fat Boy top hats, because even though they're marketed as not having to cut your car for whatever reason, when I had the Fat Boy top hats, I had to cut my car. I don't care, honestly. I wasn't mad. I was willing to do what I had to do. So with Fat Boy top hats, that gave me probably 8 degrees of camber with the slotted towers, and I paired that with extended lower control arms and extended tie rods. Anything above 7 or 8 degrees of camber, you're gonna need extended tie rods. Otherwise, your toe is gonna be burnt. So here's a white line adjustable ball joint. This gave me an additional negative 1 degrees of camber. So with the lower control arm extension plate and the adjustable ball joint, extended tie rods, I have Fat Boy top hats and slotted towers, I was able to achieve negative degrees of camber. So if you're looking for double digits and you're not really trying to spend the money for knuckles, you can do that. However, personally, if I had to do it again, I would just buy tilted knuckles from the jump and throwing those on there, and I'd been double digits pretty easily. So if you're looking to go double digits, you're gonna want to look into getting aftermarket or OEM knuckles and getting them welded, modified. what's known as tilted to usually to 10 or 12 degrees of camber, and that's gonna off rip give you double digits. You probably will still need the extended tie rod. However, if you get the tilted knuckles, you can play with your camber adjustment up front, positive or negative, to give you either, you know, more than what you're set at the knuckle or less. So when I first got my tilted knuckles, I ran positive camber all the way out, and I was sitting around 12 degrees, I believe. Right now I'm at 15, so I got this all the way pushed in as much as I can. The slotted towers and the tilted knuckles got me sitting at negative 15 degrees. Under here, we're on the passenger side. Obviously everything's the same, except one thing you might run into is the frame hitting the passenger side CV axle. So you will need to notch the frame there in order to clear without rubbing and hitting that axle. So that's pretty much it for front camber. Obviously, if you're looking for more than what I'm running, negative 15, or what's considered big camber, you would probably just get tilted knuckles, tilt them to probably 15 or 18, something crazy like that. Low control arm extensions and top hats, and you'd be able to get like probably over 20, 22, 25, things like that. But I'm not really looking for that right now, so when I got my knuckles made, I just had them tilted to 10. I knew I could get enough adjustment out of the top of the control arm and the bottom of the control arm, or I mean top and lower control arm, so that's what I went with. Well, I'm about to get that front thrown back on so I can jack the rear. Here I have the rear jacked up. The rear is much more simple than the front. There's not 5 or 6 different parts you have to buy. All you have to do for cambering the rear is your camber arm right here. I've gone through a couple camber arms. Right now I've got the SPC camber arms. I've used the Godspeed in order to achieve over double digits. The biggest thing you're gonna run into with double digit camber on the tension is hitting strut and hitting the frame. As you can see here, I have notched the frame, other words, cut it for clearance. Hey, you already know the mailman pulled up, dropped off that locked in tee. Go ahead and check out the homies YouTube down below, link in the description. Had the support, shout out Briar. Anyways, on the rear, it's just a camber arm. You either take that camber arm and replace it and have minimal amounts of adjustment, or you can modify the camber arm, cut it, weld it, and it'll be way shorter, and that'll give you your double digits or big camber that you're looking for. That's pretty much it on the rear. It's not that complicated. It's one arm. One thing you'll run into with big camber on these tensions is hitting the strut. As you can see, I don't have a strut. Yes, I'm running no strut right now, and honestly I can't really feel the difference, but I'm gonna get a strut relocation welded in there. You just take the connection point from the knuckle and put it in front of the bucket, I believe, and that's gonna get you some clearance from your top of the wheel hitting that. So when I was in GAT, actually I cracked both my barrels due to that hitting the strut. So you definitely want to watch that when you are adding camber to the rear. On the front as well, I personally haven't had any issues with the front hitting the strut. It's really close, but it clears it. And the other thing you might run into is axle issues. Everyone asks me, have I had any axle issues? They hit me up in the DMs. oh, I have an axle bind, I've been breaking axles left and right, etc. I don't know what they're doing. All I can say is if you have the lower control arm extension plates, do not put it on the second hole. That gives you like -15, I think, off the rip, and that will cause axle bind and cause it to break. So just be careful with that. Other than that, I'm not sure why I've never had any issues with the axles. However, I just haven't. So, I mean, if you want to replicate the setup, you should be good to go. So that's the ins and outs on how to camber a 10th Gen Civic. I believe I hit everything, but I probably didn't because I'm about as scatterbrained as can be. So if you got any questions, DM me, follow me on IG, Civic Collector. And thanks for tuning in. I think I'm actually about to go take it for a spin, so let's hop in.